Hello and welcome back to my garden here at the Hunter's Tryst in Edinburgh. It's the first half of February already and we're all very keen to see the back of winter and the beginning of spring. I know it's perhaps a little optimistic, but fingers crossed. We've had such a lot of cold, wet, windy weather in the recent weeks. But today the sun is shining. And so I'm going to be going out into the garden and looking for confirmation that spring is just around the corner. Those of you who've seen my earlier videos will recognize this view from my house. But this time it looks very dull indeed. I do have quite a few evergreen shrubs and trees in the garden, as you can see. And I can always rely on my wonderful Cornus midwinter fire with its glowing pink and gold stems. All of these help to brighten things up a bit, but it's still hard to believe that I will be opening it for visitors in just 3 months' time. Quite a scary thought. The winter months are when many garden tasks are undertaken, but the weather and other factors have delayed this. These jostaberries need cutting back each year, otherwise they would try to take over the whole garden. But there's still time to do all these tasks. This acer was beautiful all through the summer months, but it was growing over the path and so it needed to be cut back. I know this looks quite brutal, but I've every confidence that it will come away again, and even if it doesn't look quite so wonderful this summer, it'll be fine by next summer. And every year the old bramble stems need to be cut out to make space for the new ones growing to provide this year's fruit. But the garden isn't totally devoid of colour. When I go outside and look more closely at everything, there are many signs that spring isn't too far away, and that really brings joy to my heart. Spring bulbs play a big part in the seasonal changes. Snowdrops first. And I've got quite a lot in the garden, despite giving many away. Usually none are in flower before February here, because we're quite high up. But this year I had a single clump flowering in January. The snowdrops are quickly followed by crocus and the little iris reticulata. And while all this is going on, the daffodils are coming up, not ready to flower yet, but probably by March they'll contribute to a glorious display. After these, in April or May, tulips make an appearance. I planted quite a few last autumn, so I'm very much looking forward to seeing what comes up. In addition to spring flowering bulbs, there are several plants here that flower throughout the winter months, and they're worth their weight in gold, flowering when little else does. They'll never look as flamboyant as their summer flowering cousins, but they're so very welcome during the dark days of winter. Hellebores, with their subtle colours, little cyclamen, Haketia with their bright yellow bracts, and a spring favourite, Aubritia, just beginning to think about waking up. One of my favourite shrubs is winter jasmine, and I have it dotted around the garden, bringing splashes of colour to an otherwise dark area. They're so robust and reliable too. I also have 2 mahonia bushes with much bigger sprays of yellow flowers. Again, very reliable, though somewhat jaggy. I have bought one with no prickles, but I suspect that it may not be quite so robust. Sometimes it's just a trade-off between reliability and beauty, and you just have to accept that. This gorgeous pink rhododendron is called Christmas cheer, but this is the closest it's got yet to Christmas flowering. And similar pretty pink colouring, but this time it's from the leaves of this Photinia pink crunchy. From a distance the spirea looks quite dead, but when you get close up, look, it's covered with tiny leaf buds. This is a white flowering phlox, and its leaves start growing far earlier than most perennials. Growing beside my garage is the sarcococca, commonly known as sweet box or Christmas box. Through the winter months, It's covered with these tiny little white flowers. But its special gift to the garden is its wonderful scent as you walk past it in the evening. I've just bought a witch hazel, or to give it its proper name, hamamelis. Beautiful perfumed spidery yellow flowers. Fingers crossed I find the right space for it to thrive. And lastly, here are 2 hydrangea cuttings that I took last year. I just popped them in water, eventually roots grew on them, and then I potted them up. And now they're coming into leaf. It's been lovely to catch up with you again, so thank you for joining me. And hopefully we'll be able to meet up again before too long. Bye bye.